Hello and good day, good evening, whatever time it is when you're watching and catching up with me, Magical Minister 777. So, what I am doing right now is I'm actually recording through Zoom because I had scheduled a very special presentation tonight. My content is about my experience with the dark night of the soul. So, what I intended on doing is I have invited a few of my closest sisters that have that had actually been present with me and walked with me, whether through work or on a personal level, sisters that were just sisters because to invite them to the conversation so that we can talk about what it's like to observe and experience someone's dark night of the soul experience from a sisterhood perspective, or I don't know much about the brotherhood perspective, but from a sisterhood perspective, a family perspective, I want to have some conversation, some meaningful conversation about the subject of not only the dark night of the soul, but more more importantly from my story and that dark night of the soul experience is the impact or the influence that alcohol usage had on my experience. So with knowing that, does everyone go through the dark night of the soul? I don't know. I'm not going to try to answer that tonight. I'm sure that we all go through these experiences that can be maybe categorized as dark, right, and heavy, and maybe some feeling like a dark night experience. However, I'm going to just kind of try to stick to what my guides have revealed to me about that experience on a personal level, and maybe some of what has been impressed upon me about how all of us may or may encounter this experience and how we can try to get through it. Can anyone really help you to avoid that dark night of the soul experience, to buffer that experience? Hmm, maybe not. You know, it's built into our program. It's built into our journey with a purpose, right? So I thought, well, maybe maybe if I had not been drinking, maybe I would not have been thrusted into this dark night of the soul experience, right? I started to question my actions and whether that was impactful on even entering into that phase of my life. And so I've kind of come to this overstanding that the dark night of the soul and the alcohol were all a part of the process. It was built into the program, right? I had to make that decision. I had already made that decision on another plane and another time of existence that didn't even exist, right? I had already made that determination that I was going to have these experiences. And guess what? I was also going to overcome. And that's the great news. However, I want to revisit this conversation and I want to put it out there. I want to put my experience out there because someone else, someone else's, a lot of us sisters are going through those dark night experiences, dark night of the soul, or maybe you're not going through a phenomena of such, right? But you may be struggling with your coping with life and life experiences, life's twists and turns, disappointments, frustrations, and such. And in our community of color, and from where we come from, not even just communities of color, because guess what? I know otherwise, right? Everybody uses something to cope with their life situations, twists and turns. And those of us and those that have an aversion to alcohol, we use and we indulge because society says it's okay to do that, right? But is it really serving us well in our darkest hours? Absolutely not. Okay, I'm here to tell you, absolutely not. So I invited a couple of my sisters, and they are on that CPT time. I'm not even joking, right? They're on a different timeline than I am, apparently. One is in transition right now, and she may join me. And furthermore, I'm going to have another set of conversations. So this conversation was supposed to be with two of my sisters that were colleagues and friends from work, right? And then I'm going to have another conversation with sisters that are more spiritually connected. Maybe I've known them for 20 years plus, and I've been a guide in their life, right? A minister of sorts, and a blessing, a light, a sister. And then I want to have them disclose how they felt seeing me go through that, how powerless they felt. One of my sisters that I imparted in her life for many, many years, to see me going through experiences that she never thought that the minister is doing what. It was kind of scary for her, and I want to give her an opportunity to discuss that part of our experience, right? And then finally, I would like to more than likely have a conversation with family that saw, felt, and knew that I was going through, right? And their feelings. And I'm sure I like one of my cousins, I know he's going to join the conversation, and he's going to have so much input of encouragement for me, as he always does. But there are three conversations that I want to have about Althea, the magical minister 777, and her dark night of the soul experience. So having said that, so far, this video, this content is going to be uploaded as a preliminary to those sets of conversations because my guests have not shown up and they are late, but that's okay. No, never the mind. Timing is everything, right? I'm excited because up until this point, I probably haven't uploaded any content in a minute, right? I've been hermiting and focusing and refocusing because sometimes you get distracted. But I've been doing my thing, really trying to keep grounded in my divine purpose and in my and what I'm building in this new beginning, right? And so the dark night of the soul for me is long behind me as far as the timeline. I've had other events happen between then and now that are definitely about this new beginning. And so I just want to revisit this dark night of the soul, share some of my experiences, because it was really heavy for someone who is a light bearer, always been a light bearer, always been one who was of the Christ consciousness, to experience her darker side, her side that she was in denial of. Like I wouldn't say denial in that, I thought that I was better than certain experiences to the degree that, like, oh, that could never be me. That wasn't my attitude, but I thought that no, it wouldn't be me because I know better, right? Like I knew better than to, let anything threaten my sobriety of mind. I knew better than that. I was born into addiction. Set up predominantly, I had a predestination for potential addiction, incarceration, and yada, yada, yada. It's in the book. I'll probably put a link down in the description. But with that being said, I had made a decision when I was younger. I'm not picking up no heroin. I'm not picking up no crack. I've indulged maybe once or twice in some white stuff, and it was like, no. My brother, my god sister's brother, he says, don't do this. It'll ruin your life, and that's all he had to tell me. And I no further persisted with that. So it was clear Althea was not going to jail. Althea was not going to be a drug addict, and Althea wasn't going to be given over to alcohol. I wrote that very clearly in my manuscript, right? So here you go, right? 2014, the end of 2014 was the end of a life cycle for me, and it ended in great disappointment of what was yet again not serving me well. My marriage was put to the test and on the chopping block, and it was time. It was like, this is no longer moving forward with me. But I didn't make that decision. I didn't say, oh, this is not moving forward with me. At the end of 2014, with my powerful, magical alchemy energy, right? Everything you say and feel, right? Everything you say and feel and do is going to have a manifestation to reflect that powerfully. Althea, the magical minister, you knew this, but you were not concentrating, you were not focusing, you were not utilizing your power. You're yielding these swords and stuff, and you're getting ready to make a big mistake by deciding that on this day in 2014, because of this disappointment, you are going to drink alcohol, and you're going to drink it all, and you're going to go to sleep. That's what I told myself in December of 2013, December of 2013, actually. I was met with a disappointment yet again from my ex-husband. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to drink this whole bottle of Sauvignon Blanc. Why that? Because it had the strongest alcohol content on the shelf. At the time, that's what I knew. So I went and I proceeded to buy that bottle of Sauvignon Blanc. And as I purchased that, and I said, I'm going to drink the whole bottle and just go to sleep. Right. And so I kept waking up and I wanted to go back to sleep. So I kept drinking more, and I drank more. And from that point, I remedied my issue with wine. I just go to sleep at night, and it will make me feel much better. And so that was the beginning of the beginning of that was the beginning of the end of the old. And that decision to drink and to use that as a coping mechanism to overcome those disappointments was not a fatal but a critical move that impacted everything subsequent to that. And you know I don't think that the alcohol in and of itself perpetuated the events of my next life cycle, which began 2014 through 2021, 7-year cycles, right? But if I had made a different decision in 2013, at the end of that cycle, perhaps that dark night of the soul event exposure may have looked different. I don't know, but I do know what it was nothing nice, right? It was nothing nice. And so it it really led me into just being more daring about letting myself live unrestrained by others' expectations. And there is nothing wrong with that. But when you are charged by lower vibrations, lower frequencies, when you're charged by resentment, fear, depression, when you're charged by desperation, that motivation becomes distorted, and all of its outcomes are equally distorted, right? So 2013, 2014, I went and muddled through with my ex-husband. At the time we were still together and trying to grapple and do something new to recover. And so we went through 2014, and I just couldn't do it anymore. So 2015, January 7th, I said, I can't do it anymore. And I was okay with not staying attached to that relationship that I felt at the time was not allowing me to be free and liberated and really find myself. It was my time. It had nothing to do with the fact that I was unfulfilled in the marriage. That was just an incidental, right? That was just an outcome. It was my time to decompress, to dismantle, not decompress, to dismantle. That life cycle, that last life cycle was about finishing up and getting ready to tear it all down. And 20 years prior to, I would say 20 years prior to that, my realization, but there was a time when I had actually gotten married and we were on my honeymoon and I was drinking pina coladas, and I was never really an alcohol consumer, other than on some recreational or social, maybe out to dinner, but I never was a person who drank at home for sure. I didn't have use for it. And when I did drink at home, periodically, it was like some Corona because I really had a low tolerance for strong alcohol. But during this time, I was on my honeymoon, and I was in the church and very spiritually inclined. And I recall, my spirit guides speaking to me over and against myself, because I was contemplating the fact that these pina coladas were just about like, I don't know how many calories, full of sugar, full of fat. And I had just lost all of this weight for the wedding. And here I'm drinking these pina coladas and they're not giving me a buzz at all. So I start thinking, like, by the time I drink all of these pina coladas and get a buzz, I'll probably gain 30 pounds in the next 7 days. So then my spirit said, but one day you're going to have to stop drinking. And I said, okay. I'm in the pool literally, and I'm having this conversation with my higher self. I said, okay, no problem. I don't drink like that anyway. I'm on vacation. And spirit says, one of my lady says it's not starting, but spirit says that no, baby, one day you can't drink nothing. And I'm saying, okay, no big deal. I don't drink like that anyway. I'll stop. If I want to matriculate in my spiritual gifts, they said, if you want to matriculate in your gifts, you're going to have to not drink at all one day. I said, oh, I got you. Not a problem. And so 15 years later became a problem. Right? Go figure. And when I realized that it was a problem, I remembered that they told me that one day, Althea, you're not going to be able to drink anything. And I said, really? That's what this is about. So I said, aha, this alcohol is the fuel to the fire. And it wasn't anything nice. Emotionally, it wasn't, it was a short period of time in comparison to, and I don't mean to compare as to minimize my experience versus someone else's experience, because they may have been involved in that experience lengthier times. However, but what I'm saying is, like, I went through that experience, the heaviest part of that, the darkest and the weariest time was a period between, I want to say 2016 and 2018. or 2015 and 2018. So it was 2 to 3 years of solid decline in light, because it was the dark night of the soul. And so slowly but surely it got darker and darker and darker. And the alcohol, yo, that mofo, that'll have you blind. Never mind darkness. Like, darkness is one thing, but when you can't see, ooh, it hurts the soul of the ascending one. It hurts the soul of the chosen one. And that's why I really wanted to have some of my sisters who are trying to figure out how we're going to link up, because it's not happening on this Zoom. But I'm going to wrap this one up and connect with them probably on Duo or something, and try to present that to you, because that's what it was for me. It was blindness. It was like you can see, but you're in darkness when you're that chosen one. In that time, especially during that time of 2018 to 2020, 2021, any chosen ascending being was going to be going to feel the impact of the shift, the change, whatever you want to call it. And so, the alcohol impeded the process. But thanks be to the divine and the sisters, I got through. I got over. Ooh, get ready, get ready, get ready. Listen, I'm gonna stop this now because I want to get on with the girls, and I want them to have some input on this, because this is going to be really good for those of you that catch it on fleek. Blessings, peace, love, and light. Thank you for listening. And please do like, share, subscribe, comment, and come back and continue to join the discussion and the discussions that will subsequently follow thereafter. Okay? Much love, peace, and blessings. Namaste.